Um, while I'm thinking of it, because we still have a few people that might show up here, it's just barely after 5. Dave and Stacy, I want to let you know that everything's squared away for your last night in Havana, because you're staying in after an extra night after the rest of us leave the second tour. You'll stay with our friend Carlos in the Vedado neighborhood of Havana. It's a very nice house, and he will arrange a taxi for you to the airport the next day. No problems. And I think we'll just ask one of our drivers to take you when they bring us to the airport. We'll just ask them, what the cost is. You guys cover that. They'll take you to the Hemingway house and then to Carlos's house. So you don't have to go to Carlos's house and go back and forth. Both the airport and the Hemingway house are kind of west of the city, so kind of makes sense. So if one of the drivers will do that, they can take you there and then to the house where you're staying. Carlos will arrange a taxi the next day. Okay. All right, we've got 14. It's not bad. 21 total potential joiners, but we'll get started here in a minute. Any questions before we get started?
Colin, I want to know if we are advised or should take things for the locals.
Yes, about that. The best thing to do and what we encourage everyone to bring is a deflated soccer ball. And we will bring a pump, or we'll get a pump, and then because deflated can fit in your bag better, and nothing will make a kid happier in Cuba than getting a new soccer ball. Otherwise, in the past, people have brought a number of things to donate, and the intentions are good, and that's nice. Sometimes it's tough to give these things away. Not all schools want donations, and as far as the Casas where we're staying, they don't like us to hand things out near the Casa because it draws a crowd to their door. So bring a soccer ball. The other thing is, and I'll get to this, Mike and I each bring water purifiers, a SteriPen, so we don't have to use quite so much plastic, right? Because generally as Americans, we shouldn't drink the water there. You can try. I never have. If you want to save some cost and some plastic waste, bring a SteriPen or a water purifier. And then at the end of the trip, you can donate those batteries or any batteries because those are tough to find down there. Cuba has a lot of shortages of things right now, and things are very expensive. So, yeah, if you want to bring something like that and it's battery operated, leave the batteries behind. That's a nice gift. Maybe bring an extra roll or two of toilet paper. That's a shortage, or it was last year. All our Casas had it. It was it wasn't a problem, but bring an extra roll, and maybe for use in the countryside too, especially because some of the bathrooms there, ladies practice.
And in case we don't purify our water, we will need that toilet paper.
Exactly. That's a good point. Thank you.
That's funny.
Ladies, practice your hovering skills for some of the bathrooms in the countryside. Otherwise, the Casas we stay at are actually quite nice. The bathrooms, everything, they're quite nice. But if you got extra toilet paper, the locals will take it. So there you go.
PP.
Yeah. I don't see anybody waiting. So, all right. Yeah, we're coming up. It's just a few weeks away now. 4 weeks from today is the start of the first tour. So, 6 years ago, next month, February of 2018, was the first time I visited Cuba. And I got there via a friend's tour company called KB Tours, my buddy Will. I know him from Minneapolis. He lived in Peru for many years, established the tour business. Now he lives in Denver, and he just sold the company last year. And my first guide, and the only guide I've ever had, was my good friend, Helene. I like to tell him he's primero mi amigo, siempre mi guía. He's first my friend and always my guide. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. Unfortunately, tourism is pretty slow right now, and he wasn't getting much work, so he's taken another job working remotely for a German computer company. He finished his computer degree. So Helene will not be our guide. For the first time ever, I will not have Helene as a guide. But he's recommended 2 different guides. These are people that he recommends, and I trust his judgment. So we're going to have a different new guide for each tour, and they both come highly recommended from Helene. So, so if you look on the itinerary, it still has Helene's name. It's actually going to be a different guide. Two guides. Royland will be the guide in the first tour, and then Yassel will be our guide for the second group.
And you guys will both be there too, right?
Yes, we'll both be there. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
So when you
Do you
arrive
recommend
at the
taking a
airport,
phrase book?
what's that?
Do you recommend taking a phrase book? I mean, we'll be with you guys pretty much all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll just say, Colin, what does that say? What does
Oh,
it
well,
say?
I'm not fluent by any means in
Well,
Spanish.
I
but
just know cuss
Yeah,
words
no.
and food.
neither of us are.
our guide should be
bring
pretty
you-
fluent.
Bring your cell phone if you have Google Translate downloaded on your cell phone. That's really an amazing tool.
I speak
Really?
Spanish. I speak some Spanish too.
Un poquito.
Helps. It definitely helps. Our guides should be fluent. Restaurants, places like that, most people speak English. The general population doesn't always speak English, so they learn that later in like university, not so much in primary school. But Cuba does have the highest literacy rate, one of the highest, if not the highest, in the Western Hemisphere, but they don't all speak English. They're well educated. They have a very good education system.
Actually, it's one of the highest in the world.
Driving.
Really? Yeah, it's up there. They're very well educated. They also have more medical professionals per capita than any other nation. They train a lot of doctors. Oh, we got, hey, Ken's joining us.
They need a podiatrist?
Always
Yeah,
good to have a podiatrist.
I'll bring some tools.
Trying to get your side gig on.
I know.
Hola, Ken. Bienvenidos. Okay, so upon arrival at the airport, it's a little different now since COVID. We can't go into the airport at all to meet you. We used to have a meeting spot there. So you're going to go out a big set of doors. There's going to be a crowd of people waiting for everybody getting off the plane. Once you go through customs, immigration, all that, just go out the door at the airport. One or both of us, probably both of us, will be there with our guide and drivers. There are two airports, two terminals. Usually everybody goes to one terminal. Last year we did have somebody at a different terminal, so we'll verify all that. But just keep in mind we may have to go to two different terminals if you wait a little bit on your arrival. But we'll have two bands, so it shouldn't be a problem.
And that that all depends on what airline you're flying in on.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of that, if you have booked your tickets and not, we need your flight info. If you have not sent us that, please send that right over if you've booked. I assume everybody's booked. Hopefully.
Dude. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Sheree, I have yours. Donna, I don't have your flight info. And if
Oh,
you
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
I'll
sent
send it to you
mine.
as soon as you get off the phone. I thought I sent it to you a while ago, but I'll do it again.
okay,
Donna
well,
and I are actually going to connect in Houston.
I can search
Yeah,
my.
I'm coming with Cherie. We're on the same flight coming in out of Houston.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Perfect.
got it. Thank you.
So whatever Cherie's doing, I'm doing that.
Perfect. As far as your Cuban travel visa, that's now done online. You used to purchase that at the airport, like the last gate you were at before departing to Havana. Now it's all done online, and you're going to do it like a day or two before you depart, before your last flight to Havana. It's got to be, I think it's within 48 hours. We'll send out the link in the info in the WhatsApp groups, but that's how you obtain your Cuban travel visa now. Michelle in Oregon, not Michelle in Hawaii. Michelle, you have you have a Canadian passport, so I don't know if it'll be the same, probably easier for you, but you may still need to go through the process of the going online to get a Cuban travel visa. And I think it was around $100, maybe $80 to $100 last year. So you'll do that shortly before departing. And again, you go through the normal customs immigration, then you'll exit the airport and we'll be outside there waiting for you. Cash, you may want to, it's a good idea to maybe exchange $100 or $200 in cash at the airport for Cuban pesos. I wouldn't do any more than that. A lot of places and a lot of our hosts like to accept US dollars. So you can use US dollars at a lot of places. And our guy, well, at least Haleen used to do a lot of cash exchanges for us. I don't know if the new guys will be able to do that. If not, we'll go to a bank or somewhere where we'll probably get a better rate than you would at the airport. But maybe exchange a couple $100 at the most at the airport so you have some Cuban pesos.
Do you recommend tipping?
that?
Do you recommend tipping?
Yes, you can certainly tip there. Just like, our taxi drivers for the tours, our van drivers, our guides, restaurants, all of that. Yeah, certainly you can.
So make sure you have some small bills. I mean, you
Right.
said make sure you bring over 1,000. I thought, well, that'll be easy. And then I thought, no, it won't be if they're small bills.
Yeah, bring some small bills. Make sure they're not ripped or torn because they're not always accepted. Make sure they're in primo condition. You go to the bank and get some cash. Make sure they're all nice bills.
They have to be new bills as well. They have to be the newer bills, not the old style ones.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Speaking of that, if you haven't declared already when you booked your flight, if at any point you're asked your reason for visiting Cuba, and it's going to be our government that asks us this, remember it is support for the Cuban people. No other reason than support for the Cuban people. That's the reason you give. And that's the reason I've always used. I used professional research one time. I've never been questioned coming back other than just basic questions. Never been interrogated. No issues there. Any travel restrictions are on our end. It's our government, not theirs. They're very welcoming. Speaking of, since 6 years ago, since my first visit until now, they've experienced a huge economic decline, unfortunately. When the Obama administration opened up tourism and removed restrictions on travel, a lot of U.S. tourists started going to Cuba and their private economy really flourished. Trump administration reversed that, and now you have to declare a valid reason for going. And then the pandemic on top of that, and I can say that they are really, really suffering economically right now. They're pretty open about that. The nightlife and things aren't quite as vibrant as they used to be. And just prepare yourself for it. Looks a little rough in places, especially in the cities, especially in Havana. It's a very safe place. It's a very safe, very welcoming. The people are very welcoming. They're kind of infatuated with Americans. Despite the friction with our governments, they're very welcoming and kind people. And again, it's a very safe place, probably because the punishments are so harsh if they do break the law. So,
Don't break the law.
don't break the law. So I just want to say a little bit about that, about their current economic situation. I'm happy that we can bring them business. We're bringing a lot of revenue into the economy, into the private economy. We are supporting the private citizens. So that's our justification of going. Is we're hiring private guides, staying at privately owned casas, and private restaurants, all of that. As Americans, we're not supposed to stay at the government-owned hotels. And they're big hotels in Havana. They're very expensive. We're not even supposed to stay there according to our government. So it's all privately owned casas. The first two nights will be in Havana. We'll be very close to the capital. It's not my favorite part of town. The streets are kind of dirty. But when you go in the casas, they're actually very nice inside. So don't be fooled from the outside. The casas are quite nice. You're going to see gates and locks and bars and security like you've never seen. I think it's just the mindset there because it really is quite safe. But every house has like multi-layered locks and gates to get into the casa.
Sounds like Costa Rica.
Whenever we go to a casa, wherever we're staying someplace new, get a card from the host, a business card with the address. Take a picture of the door with your phone in case you go wandering somewhere. It can be quite confusing. The city of Trinidad was built to confuse intruders. It was designed that way. I've gotten lost in Trinidad. So have a picture of the door where you're staying and the address on a card, just in case. We're generally going to be together all the time, but just in case you wander off. As far as back to the cash thing, remember, bring more than enough. 1,000 should be way more than enough. But you will not be able to use your credit card in Cuba because of the embargo. American credit cards are not accepted there, so you won't be able to access an ATM or use a credit card. So have more than enough cash just to be safe. And speaking of the embargo, you can't log on to Bank of America. I can't get onto Squarespace. A lot of websites are blocked because of the embargo. Update your phone and your devices, all your apps before you leave, because you cannot access the Apple iStore. That's blocked because of the embargo. So update all these things before you go. Any online payments or things you need to make, do that before you go, because you probably won't be able to access your bank or credit card website from Cuba.
On WhatsApp?
So, also on any financial forms, if you're writing a check for any part of this or whatever, do not write the word Cuba anywhere. Do not use that because it can and often does get flagged. We found that out by putting Cuba on our invoices. PayPal flagged it. Eventually they released the money, but let's just avoid all that. So that's why the invoices say Caribbean tour, not Cuban tour.
Right. And I'll be sending out some final invoices tomorrow. And then they'll be due a week later. So you'll see, just as Colin just said, it'll say Caribbean tour. It won't say Cuba. If it says Cuba, then PayPal has to flag it immediately. And it just slows the whole process down.
Hey, Colin, can you hear me?
Sheree? Wait.
It's
No,
Michelle.
that's Michelle.
Oh, hey, Michelle. I hear you.
Hi. So we were just discussing earlier today, is there still a problem with bringing large bills like hundreds? Many places in the world don't like hundreds, especially US hundreds.
No, hundreds are fine. You just want to make sure that they're brand new, that there's no tears, and that you bring some 50s and some 20s, 10s, 5s, just mix it up a little.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
But hundreds are fine.
Also, on the topic of cash, because everything in Cuba is paid for with cash, if you're an American, that means Mike and I pay everything in cash. We pay the guides, we pay for everything in cash, other than some Airbnb rentals that we booked. It's all cash. We're limited on how much cash we can bring in. Anything more than 5,000, we have to declare. So we can't bring in all the cash we need. Some of you, we've already spoken with you, have agreed to pay your balance in cash in Cuba. That means US bills, not a check, but actual US bills in cash. Anyone who can or would be willing to pay the balance in Cuba, we welcome you to do that. And we will buy dinner on your first night of the tour as a token of our gratitude for helping us, for being a
Yeah,
I think Donna just raised her hand.
Yeah, so yes, we're welcome. You're welcome to be a cash. We appreciate it. So if you're
I'm
going
self-employed. I do everything in cash.
well, let us know when you get the invoice. That's great, Donna. Anyone else, just let us know when you receive the invoice that you're going to be paying us in cash in Cuba, and that's wonderful. Thank you. So we appreciate it. Okay, I think we covered all the cash, the ins and outs of entering Cuba.
What about medical insurance?
So your Cuban travel visa covers that. So you can get health care in Cuba.
Oh,
Yes. Now, that being said, I would still get travel insurance. It's always a good idea to have in case you get sick, in case something comes up, sick before leaving and can't go, or sick there, or what have you. It's good to have travel insurance just in case. But yes, you can. And in the past, we've had to use that. Had to take a few people to the doctor in Havana and Trinidad, and I'll get to that here shortly. So February certainly is cold and flu season. Okay. COVID's still present. Do whatever you do. We have no requirements, but do whatever you can do, please, to keep yourself healthy and those around you healthy. Last year, they were randomly testing people for COVID upon entry. None of our people got tested. It was very random, very infrequent. Don't believe they're doing that this year. That could change, but you should not be tested. You don't have to have a test before you go. No restrictions anymore. If that changes, we'll let you know. But still, please take precautions to avoid getting sick. Last 4 tours, all our tours last year were COVID free. We want to keep that going, along with our 90% rate of returning everybody at the end of the tour. So
9 out of 10 people come back.
so we want to keep that. But yeah,
May I
please
ask?
do your
May I
best.
ask something?
If you it's supplements, if it's a mask, if it's a flu shot, any and all of these things, whatever you need to do to please stay healthy, do your best. I used to be ambivalent about flu shots, and the first year I led tours in Cuba, one person showed up with 2 types of influenza, 6 more of us got sick. It was brutal, and that's when 3 people had to go to the doctor. Yeah, it was brutal. So I would like to avoid all of that. I would not like to repeat that. And yes, I get a flu shot now. It's not 100%,
Can I ask?
but it helps.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
It's Lori.
Oh, hi, Lori.
So if somebody is sick, will they be taken from the rest of us so it doesn't spread? What will you do?
It depends on what it is and how severe it is. I think for a common cold or something, probably not. We would like it if somebody would mask up and take extra precautions if they are sick. But another reason to have travel insurance, because if somebody is severely ill and has to be hospitalized and get their own transportation back to Havana or something, you can. That's the purpose. That's the reason we're having travel insurance.
Can I make a recommendation that people, if they can, I know not everybody likes to wear masks, but I think on the planes, it's so easy to get a disease, catch a bug, and then you pass, as soon as you get to your destination, everybody gets sick. So it'd be really good if people could kind of think about wearing a mask when they're on the plane, so they don't pass it on
I'm
to
with you,
everybody else.
Donna.
Yep.
I'm with you.
That's great. If that's, I certainly, I'm a hippie, so I use essential oils. Put that on my face, and that seems to keep me healthy. But sometimes
Keeps everybody away from you anyway, Colin.
that.
Never mind.
So yeah. So whatever your tricks are to keep healthy, please adhere to them. Let's keep everyone healthy on these tours, because irritating, flu really sucks. And then COVID, you just never know. So let's do our best to stay healthy.
Colin?
Yeah.
Do you guys recommend insurance company, travel insurance?
Allianz is a good one.
Okay, that's the one.
That's
Yeah,
That's
there's
the one I've used the most. Allianz is the one I've used the most.
Yep. So let's see.
Can you spell that for me?
Yeah, I was
somebody?
about to do that. If in the chat, here we go. Got it.
I don't even see my chat.
Oh, where's my chat?
Allianz is
Come on.
ALLIANZ.
I just put it in the chat.
Allianz, yep, it's in there.
There you go.
ALLIANZ.
Okay.
And they have 3 different levels of coverage. It's quite simple.
There you go. I think you can get an annual policy now for the whole year if you want to do
Sure,
that.
if you travel a lot.
It's a good idea. Wi-Fi and cell service. Don't plan on being able to use your cell phone. I've made calls directly from Cuba. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. It's expensive, and no carriers that I'm aware of will offer a plan for Cuba. No U.S. cell carrier. So you will be able to use your cell phone when we have Wi-Fi. A lot of the restaurants have Wi-Fi. Some of the casas do. And now the locals have more access to Wi-Fi on their phones, which they can share. However, generally speaking, Wi-Fi is pretty limited in Cuba. But that's where if you need to text or call, best to do it using Wi-Fi. Otherwise, it's really tough to actually make a call go through. What do you
And is
munch?
Wi-Fi common at like cafes and places like that, restaurants?
Yeah, a lot of them will have Wi-Fi, and some of our hosts have Wi-Fi. Not all, but some. In the past, the first few times I went there, you would buy a card, scratch off the numbers like a lottery ticket, and then you would go to a public space where the Wi-Fi was broadcast, like a Central Park or something. That's where you'd use Wi-Fi. But now it's a little bit more accessible. Things change year to year, but We're not gonna have a lot of Wi-Fi. We certainly won't have it in the vans like we do in Iceland. And it's gonna be limited, but if you need to call or text, best to use it to do that on Wi-Fi. And let's see. A few more things to go over. We did send over a comprehensive packing list in our previous emails. You have any questions on that, let us know. Again, reiterate, bring long pants and shirt to avoid mosquitoes. Dengue fever is an issue there. So bring some bug repellent, bring long pants, long sleeves for in the evening. There is no vaccination to prevent dengue. You have to deal with it once you get it. So try and avoid that. Also, when we go hiking in Vinales, we're going to do a sunrise hike and a walking farm tour. We're going to a cave there. You're going to get ticks. It happens, especially on the sunrise hike. So again, wear long pants, bring some repellent. They are not wood ticks. They're not deer ticks. They don't carry Lyme disease. I've researched this. I pulled a lot of them off of me. Some have been burrowed in. Just be aware of that. You're probably going to pick up a few ticks. So bring clothes that can do the best to avoid that.
Bring a little bit of insect repellent, doesn't hurt. The mosquitoes he's talking about with dengue mostly live in the city, and they go from human to human. When we're out on the trails, you won't have too many problems. The one tick issue, if you wear long pants and shoes and socks, and then you spray with your repellent around your shoes and your socks and your pant leg bottom, you'll be fine.
All right. Yeah, but plan on getting ticks. They're gross, but you know what? You just pick them off. Hopefully before they burrow in. But yeah, we'll clean yourself thoroughly after we go hiking. So you want to get I had one burrowed in once in TMI here in kind of a private place that I almost couldn't get out. You have to see who was a true friend to help me out. Got it out.
You're a goner.
It's kind of like peeing on somebody about jellyfish sting.
Exactly. Luggage. If we didn't, I think we pointed this out. I'm going to mention it again. Pack light. Cuba's a warm place. You shouldn't have to pack too heavily, so pack light. And we would like you to bring one small to medium sized duffel bag. No big hard-sided suitcases. We're going to have limited space in the vans. So do your best to pack light, to bring a reasonably sized duffel bag, roller duffel, whatever, but no big hard-sided suitcases. And then in addition, you might have a camera pack, a day pack, purse or laptop. So kind of like airline rules, one bag and a personal item. Although people are kind of pushing the limits on carry-on these days. But keep it reasonable. Do your best to keep it small because our vans are going to be full. Any other questions so far?
I see.
Am I going to be able to find the John Lennon statue in Havana?
Yes, we should go to that on our classic.
That is like, oh, I got to get there.
Yep. No, it's in there's a park where his statue's on a park bench, and we always stop there on the tours, so it's neat to get your picture taken.
Yeah, you can sit next to him on the bench and get your photo taken. And Colin, you said, I guess it was a couple of years ago, they actually had a guy standing there with his glasses that they would put on him and take off him because people kept stealing them. So they decided to hire some guy to stand there next to the statue with his little round beady glasses.
It was a lady. That was her job. She was there to put the glasses on John for pictures and take them off when the people left. And last year wasn't anyone there. Again, might be a budget thing because they are hurting economically. So maybe there isn't anyone there now. But yes, we'll go there. There's a club there, a bar that's called the Yellow Submarine Club. There's a whole story behind it because the Beatles and rock music was banned when they were affiliated with the Soviet Union. Once that dissolved, then they eventually allowed rock music. And Fidel Castro was there for the unveiling of the John Lennon statue, actually. But the Yellow Submarine Club was once an underground club because they had to go in the secret to listen to music. So,
So what can we take in and what can we bring home?
so you're not supposed to bring back cigars and rum. However,
Ah,
if they ask
Ever.
you need to declare anything when you're coming back, say no. It was a great time. Thank you. I'll declare that I had fun. Yeah, you're not supposed to. Before, you used to be able to bring back so much, and especially the cigars that we get in Vinales off the farm. If you're gonna buy cigars, buy them there. Those were more considered arts and craft because you were buying it from a farm, from the source, rather than a government-owned cigar factory like the Cohibas or any of the other ones.
Little note, Colin, Dick Griffith really likes cigars.
I give Dick Griffith a cigar every year. I bring him a But when we go to Vinales, Vinales is known for their tobacco fields. They claim it's the best tobacco in the world, the best cigars in the world. They are good, and anyone who I've given a Vinales cigar to has always been very impressed. So if you're gonna buy them, we'll do a walking tour of the tobacco farms in Vinales, and you can buy them right from the source.
You
All
said
right.
we can't bring rum home?
But
You said no rum can come, or if you
No,
have rum,
well,
would you
you're
bring
not
it back?
supposed to, but it's
Yeah.
up to you. I did last year. I probably will again because the worst they're gonna do is take it away. So
You gotta get it out of me first.
there you go. You can slam it quick. Slam it in front of the customs agents, the U.S. customs agents. There you go.
if you're bringing check-in luggage, then you have a possibility of bringing if you want to throw a bottle of rum in there, throw some cigars, because then obviously that's going to be checked through and you don't have to go through security. If you're going carry-on only, I don't recommend trying to get anything back in.
Gotcha.
No, don't mess
So,
around.
when we do the horseback farm tour of in Trinidad, you can buy coffee beans that they roast right there. This guy's really entertaining. We'll go to his farm. They'll have fresh roasted coffee beans you can buy. Very strong Cuban coffee. It's muy fuerte, very strong. And you can actually, when you drink it, you kind of taste the fire that they roasted in. It's very old fashioned. You can also buy locally made honey, locally sourced honey. Both there, and you can probably get some in Vinales too. So those are other things you can bring back. Should be without issue there. Food things, coffee and honey, which I always bring some of that back as well.
I
So
got a
is there an
curiosity
alternative,
question.
Colin? Oh, I'm sorry, Donna. I just want to know if there's going to be an alternative to the horseback riding. I had an incident in September and I don't trust it.
Yeah, you don't have to go.
Yes.
Not everyone's going to go. Mike's not going to go probably.
Yes, you can stay in Trinidad with me, and we'll just go walk around the town, maybe check out some live music, have a little dinner. No problem.
Ah,
Yeah.
Siri, you got the better deal.
I think I did. I did a trail ride in September and I messed my hips up and I'm like, I don't want to ruin my trip being in pain,
That's wise. So yeah, you
No
don't
problem.
have to do that.
I don't like saddle burn.
So yeah, you don't have to. It's a neat tour. It's fun. We go through the countryside. We have dinner out there. Last year they roasted a pig right there, and then we went to the farm where you could get the coffee and the honey and all that.
Isn't that when you lost your camera equipment in the river or the creek?
Yeah,
or...
that was 2019.
That was a couple of
The
years
tour
back.
before the influenza outbreak. So that was a challenging year. But honestly, the influenza outbreak was worse than losing my camera gear in the river. So let's
Talking about COVID or
do our
influenza?
best to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Let's
That
quick
was
go through the
before COVID.
itineraries then. Just real quickly, everyone's going to arrive on either Sunday the 11th or Thursday the 22nd. We're going to pick you up at the airport, take you to the casas. We'll get settled in, and then we'll go for a short walking tour around the city with our guide and have dinner. The next day, the full day in Havana, we walk a lot. This is by far our most physically active tour. So plan on walking easily 6 miles that day in Havana throughout the day. Okay,
It's
we'll have
mostly,
lunch.
it is mostly flat.
Yeah, it's generally flat, for the most part, but we walk a lot. Bring your walking shoes. I always bring tennis shoes and sandals, flip flops, so I have
Yep.
alternate footwear. But that's a very active day. So we'll walk around in the morning. We'll have lunch. We'll have the classic car tour and the convertibles in the afternoon. I requested we start that around 3, so it's a little nicer, light, a little not quite as hot. And then
Yeah, I'm not sure my camera's working and stuff. Though.
Mine's on.
you guys
Your
have
phone mic is live.
Somebody else is talking. I wish whoever it was could stop so we can hear the
It's,
person talking.
Joey having technical problems there.
Yeah, it looks like Michelle's computer or phone is locked up,
Okay, well,
and Joel's trying to get his working.
I see Joel. He's moving, so
Yeah, we got you, Joel.
got you, Joel. All good. Here's Michelle. So cool. All right, so that's the first 2 days. You know, a lot of walking on the first full day. The next day, and we're mixing up our circuit a little bit. We changed the itinerary a little bit. We're going directly from Havana to Trinidad de Cuba for 2 nights. And in Trinidad, we will do the first night a little walking tour of the city. Maybe we'll go to the beach. We'll see what happens. It just every time is a little different. Then one full day in Trinidad, we're going to go into the mountains and hike to a waterfall and swim. And then in the afternoon is when we'll do the horseback tour if you choose to join us on that. So 2 nights in Havana, 2 nights in Trinidad. From Trinidad, we go to Cienfuegos for 1 night. Cienfuegos is a little more cosmopolitan city. You'll notice it's a little. There's economically they're a little better off there, you might say. On that same day, we're going to visit El Nicho Park, where we will also hike up to some waterfalls. There's a cave we can hike into, and again, we swim below the waterfalls. It's very refreshing. And then from Cienfuegos, we're going to Playa Larga for a night. We've never stayed in Playa Larga. Usually that's just a day visit. But we're going to stay we'll be split up between a couple different casas. One of them is called Casa Ana. It's a bird sanctuary. And this is where you have the opportunity to see the world's smallest hummingbird. It's endemic to Cuba, and we certainly saw them there last year, along with a number of hummingbirds. Cuba has a lot of hummingbirds and a number of other species. There were 2 owl species that Mike saw. So we'll go to the bird sanctuary that afternoon. Some of us will be staying right there. And then the next day, we're going to go swimming in the Bay of Pigs. That is also in Playa Larga. And we'll go snorkeling, actually. And we can take you out to a shipwreck from the Bay of Pigs battle that's still there. It's a U.S. ship, maybe 60 feet long or so. And it's right on the edge of the shelf before the water drops off. So we can swim out to it and you can check out the shipwreck. We'll spend an hour or so there snorkeling and swimming. And also while we're in Playa Larga, there's a town called Giron, and time permitting, we will go to the Bay of Pigs Military Museum. And it's very interesting. A lot of photos and footage from that battle in the early 60s. Let me just say this about it. We're in Cuba. We're going to hear Cuba's side of the story. So plan on that. We've been hearing this side of the story. We're going to hear their side of the story. Please just go in with an open mind and look at it from the historical perspective, rather than being offended when they say, you know, we defeated the Yankee imperialists in the video. Well, you know, of course you're in Cuba. That's what you're going to hear. So please don't take offense. It's the historical perspective. You're going to hear their side of the story. It's very interesting. Some really interesting photos and footage from that battle. And I hope we can go there. Then when we leave Playa Larga, we're going to go to Vinales for the last 3 nights. And usually it's been 2 nights. We're spending 3 nights because Vinales is a really cool place. On the way to Vinales, we're going to stop in Havana, drop off the guide. We'll slow down a little bit before we push him out the door, and then we'll just keep going because we use local guides in Vinales. So we do not take our original guide to Vinales for those 3 nights. We have locally guided walking tours and farm tours there. There's the St. Thomas Cave, which we've never been to, but we intend to take everyone there since we're keeping the same vans and drivers, by the way. In the past, we would go back to Havana, spend a night, and then our host in Vinales would send a transport. It gets confusing. Last year, the cars were a bit small and we were a little cramped. So we're going to keep the same vans and drivers the whole time. It just simplifies things. Well, we should be comfortable in those vans already, used to them. And then we'll have drivers to take us places like the St. Thomas Cave. They have guided tours there. They'll issue you a helmet and a headlamp and all that. And all the local tours, all the park entrance fees, those things are all included with your fee. So we cover all of that. So we go to Vinales for 3 nights and we'll do the cave tour the first day. There's a lovely restaurant with a farm where they grow a lot of their own food and herbs right on this big hill in Vinales, close to where we stay. Beautiful view. They make a signature drink that's really good. And we'll go up there for the sunset one, if not both nights. This night 2 and night 3. And we're staying at a place called Ray's Place. My favorite place to stay in Vinales. It's a nice place. He has a good restaurant there. His mom makes the best salsa you'll ever try, in my opinion. So I always request she makes her salsa for us. We'll be there 3 nights. One exception, the second tour, Ray's Place was booked the first night, so we're staying at 2 other casas. The first night in Vinales, we're gonna stay at different casas. Then the next 2 nights will be at Ray's Place, and we will take all the rooms at Ray's Place and then some. So Mike and I and maybe 1 or 2 other people are going to be staying right down the road at his neighbors where we stayed last year. So we'll be spread out a little bit. But then our second full day in Vinales. So the first day we do the cave tours. We'll go up the hill for the sunset. Second day, the second morning, we'll do the sunrise hike into the mountains. And local guide named Lester, he took us last year. His brother used to guide my tours there. His name was Fidel. He actually moved to Spain. So now Lester is guiding us. And we'll hike up the mountains. It's not real far. It's less than an hour. No major elevation gain. But it's a little, it's a little work to get up there. Once we get up there, it's a beautiful view. We'll be at somebody's house, a casa, and farm up on the mountainside. And they will serve us juice and coffee if you like.
Colin, just to add to that, this is a sunrise hiking tour. So we're going to be hiking in the dark to get up there for sunrise. So if all of you have a headlamp, it would be great to throw that headlamp in your bag, because or a little flashlight or something. We'll have some extra lights, but it's always great to have a little headlamp when you travel anyway.
I still have Alaskan in me somehow. I don't know. I have my headlamp.
There
I
you
keep
go.
thinking sunrise at 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
No, it comes up a little early.
I'm just gonna hang on to Mike. I'm gonna hang on to Mike's back pocket.
There you go. Another travel tip when you're packing your headlamp, take at least 1 battery out. That way, if it gets pushed in your luggage while you're moving it or the baggage handlers are, it doesn't kill your batteries and you don't show up with a dead headlamp.
Yes, because batteries could be hard to find there. What I understand,
Yes.
they are hard to obtain. If you want,
Right.
while I'm on that topic, bring everything you anticipate you're going to need as far as toiletries and personal items, because there really aren't many convenience stores in Cuba.
How do you plug things in? Do you need a special outlet?
No.
It's American.
Good question,
it's
John. No, the outlets are the same as ours. You don't need an adapter, converter, nothing like that. But as far as personal items, toiletries and things, yeah, there aren't a whole lot of convenience stores. And the government run stores, it's usually a really long line. So yeah, just bring everything you're going to need. And back to the batteries, again, you can donate them when you leave. They will be happy to take your batteries and you can go back a little bit lighter.
Yeah, bring an extra set of batteries. That way, if yours die, you have an extra set. And then if you want, you can leave them with people. They really appreciate it.
I got a question. It's just more of a curiosity. I see all these names on the screen. Which ones on the screen here are going on the first trip, and how many people on the screen are going on the second trip?
Okay, first trip. Well, you'll have to. Some people have their identities. Can't see your picture. I was going to show a raise of hands, but
not everybody's got their pictures on.
So,
Oh, Mine the
First
first
tour.
and second, Mike. No,
We
second.
can still do the
Sheree.
digital hands up.
Maybe
Jeff,
I'll
you're
show
the
up with
second.
Yeah, that's all right. At the peace sign up.
Dave and Stacy are in the second group. Don,
I might go
three
for them all.
second group.
I
I'm
can't hear
ready.
anything but a bunch of garbage right now. Everybody's talking at the same time.
Group one. Raise a finger. There you
Well,
go.
what about the bottom four? Those don't have any pictures.
Yeah. There are
Lori,
10
Sherry,
people in the first
Steve.
group and 9 in the second.
I don't, is my
We
picture not
may have a
showing?
10th person. in
Your
the
picture isn't showing, Sherry, nor is Lori's or Steve or Patty's. or-
It's fine.
I'm not coming back.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I don't know what to do to make mine show up, so.
Hit the video button on the bottom.
Should say start video in the lower left
Oh,
by the
well,
mute
my
button.
gosh.
You
Mine's on
computer whiz.
Hey, Steven.
Mine's under Tony Montana.
Hey,
I've been sick.
Cherie's up. Cherie's up and running.
I'm up.
And my name is Anthony Montana.
I got Steven now too.
Oh, God.
And Christina. hold on,
And Christina's up with us now too.
I think a lot of the second trip just dropped out.
There's Lori.
So
All right.
raise your hand if you're on the first trip, so I know who's going and who's on the second one. First
Okay,
trip number
first
one.
tour. Here we go. Cool. Second tour. Raise your hand. Second tour. All right. There you have it.
All right.
All right. Then let me say
There's
something
Patty.
else finally about Cuba, just in general. This will be my 5th trip to the island. It's one of my favorite places to visit. It's very, as I said, very safe, very welcoming, beautiful country. However, they are hurting economically right now, as I pointed out, and I'm happy to bring this some business. But when it comes to Cuba, let go of some of your creature comforts. The places we stay in, the casas, they're all nice, they're all clean. But in general, so like I said, some of the bathrooms, especially in the countryside, leave a bit to be desired. They are struggling, they are hurting. So just expect that, and also plan on something going wrong at some point. Okay, it's inevitable. I've had cars break down, vans break down.
Might tell you about me.
So this is Cuba. Plan for it. We'll deal with it as best we can. If we may miss out on an activity or something, we hope not. But just know that going in, to let go of some creature comforts and plan on maybe some mishap at some point, a car breaking down, or who knows. It's Cuba. Things happen in Cuba. It's expected, but it's still a wonderful place.
No problema.
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. Thank you. There you go. That's, I think, all I have to say. Mike, do you have anything to add? Anything I missed?
Well, we started off with, about bringing something for the people, and the soccer balls really are the best because you can deflate them, and then I'll bring a pump and a needle, so we only need one of those. You don't have to bring a pump. You can deflate them, and then they fit into your luggage really easy. And really, it just makes kids' days when you roll them a soccer ball. It's awesome. So they're not too expensive. If you want to bring a couple, that's great. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, at the airport, as far as exchanging money, I tried last year, and I waited in line and then got up to the window, and then the woman said, "We have no more money." So it was pretty much a waste of time.
Again, this is Cuba. Okay.
Yeah, it's Cuba, so
Plan on it. Things go wrong. They run out of things. There are shortages, partially because of the embargo and their general economic condition. But yeah, things like that happen in Cuba all the time. So
May I ask?
waiting in lines is like a pastime for them. So if the line's huge, just don't worry about it. We'll deal with it after you arrive. But yeah.
May I ask about the money? So I've heard there's different types of pesos and they accept one type and not another.
So
Is that,
there used to be the Cuban peso, then the Cuban convertible peso, the CUC, CUC they called it, and that was established basically just for the tourists. So, me gusta tu gato, Sherry.
Oh, yeah. It's
Mercado?
fair.
Tu gato.
El Tigre.
El Tigre.
Yeah.
So the Cuban convertible peso is no longer in use. Unfortunately, when I went there in 2020, I forgot to bring about $100 worth. We went back last year. It's $100 worth of souvenirs now. I can't do anything with it, unfortunately. So it's all 1 peso, only 1 peso, but a lot of places are happy to take US bills. But no credit cards, no credit or debit cards.
would we, if we don't buy any pesos, would we get by?
I would get some pesos because not every place is going to take US dollars. So, you can exchange more if needed, but I would get $100 or $200 worth perhaps at the most. Again, at the airport, if the line's not long and they still have cash, yeah, get a little bit there. We can get more if you need, but I would recommend having some because some places will only take pesos.
And to add to that, the last year we had pretty much everyone and anyone offering us Cuban pesos for our dollars. So it shouldn't be very hard to change. Even if you don't get any at the airport, don't sweat it. Colin and I will have it figured out by then of who will be able to change money for us. Don't worry too much.
And whatever someone's talking.
Then the exchange rate.
If we don't spend it all, we can give the pesos to our tour guide. Who's talking?
No, they won't take it.
Someone doesn't know that they're talking.
Yeah, someone's making background noise.
Patty, can you mute?
There we go. Okay. So, Lori, yes, you can certainly use if you have leftover pesos, extra pesos, you can use them for tipping our drivers, our guide, what have you. Once you leave Cuba, they're yours because you can't exchange Cuban pesos in the US. So,
right.
Whatever you go home with is souvenirs.
And can you tell us now what you suggest for tips? How much?
As far as we can discuss is if we want to send a group note out, like maybe we recommend or suggest tipping this much to the drivers, things like that. But restaurants, you can do, 15% is pretty good. That's a good tip down there.
Yeah, 10 to 15% is usually pretty good in Cuba for tipping.
And seeing like we have a lot of European tourists, they're not used to getting tips like we are here in the US. But
yes.
It is definitely appreciated, and 15% would be on the high end.
But like our local guides and the
absolutely. Yeah, you can certainly tip those guys. That's wonderful because we'll have the sunrise guide, the horseback guide,
and then of course our van drivers, if you want to, they're going to be in charge of keeping us safe. So I always like to tip those. And of course, our main guide, who's in charge of, helping us for the first 6-7 days, you can bring money to give both or all 3 of those guys or whatever van you drive in. We like to spread it out, make it even, but it's always good to tip, to tip those guys too. We will, Colin said, before we go, we'll send out a group, email as we have in the past with just some suggestions on how to bring tipping.
Awesome.
And we can, put it all together in one collection and hand it to the drivers, the guides at the end. We're happy to do that. Yeah. I had a thought. It escapes me. Go ahead. Anyone else?
Go Lions. I have to go.
Okay, I'm just wondering for airport arrivals, if we all agree, can you just let us know who's all on the same flight? So if we find each other, then it just makes that airport pickup easier.
Yeah. Give me one moment here. I can do that.
Are you going to be standing there at the board that says Shug on it? Or
yeah, I mean in an email. I don't mean now.
Yeah, we can send that out. No
Yeah,
problem.
an email. Yeah, perfect. Sweet.
I'm just messing with Colin.
Yeah, one of us, we'll both be there. I don't see why one of us would not be, along with the guide and drivers. So we should both be there. It's possible we may have to split up and go to both terminals if somebody's arriving at the other terminal. But yeah, one or both of us will be there when you walk out the door.
Awesome.
And
Just to reiterate, the luggage part of it, you know, it's Cuba, like we've been talking about. Things can go right, can go wrong. It's travel. You just have to be flexible and a little patient. It always helps not, as Colin said earlier, not to bring giant luggage. These vans are not huge vans. They're decent, they're comfortable, but you know, we have limited space for luggage in these vans. So it is very warm down there, so you don't, other than one light pair of pants and a light long sleeve shirt, everything else could be shorts, t-shirts, underwear, whatever, you know, whatever you need. You can bring an umbrella if you like. You might need it, you might not need it. But you don't have to bring much for heavy clothing. A decent pair of walking, you know, lightweight hiking shoes is great. And then bring a pair of flip-flops or sandals, whatever you prefer, or the, you know, casual times and for riding in the vans for long time periods like that.
And probably one pair of jeans for horseback riding, no?
That would be, that long pair of pants, whether it's jeans or whatever you have, that's great for the horseback riding.
And deodorant.
How,
And
how
what?
often, how often,
you
How
don't
often
need
do-
don't need heavy hiking boots. So you don't need heavy,
No.
sturdy hiking boots. Just
No.
good hiking or running shoes.
Right. And it all depends on, you know, how you like to hike. We are, like Colin said, this is a fairly active tour. We've got a couple of hikes up into the mountains. The elevation's not huge, but depending on how you like to hike, if you need to bring a walking stick, that's fine.
Trekking poles, whatever. Yeah.
Trekking poles.
Maybe 400 or 500 feet elevation gain
Yeah,
at the most.
a couple miles here and there.
So as far as the bug spray, how many ounces are we allowed? Like that would go on my
So-
backpack or into my underneath or?
Well, if you're not checking in, Jeff, you're not checking
Yep.
in a bag. So 3 ounces.
Okay, so I can get my little,
You can
like
bring
the net.
3 different 3-ounce bottles, but they can't be more than 3 ounces each.
That's what I make sure. Like the net
Probably
spray.
five.
And that goes for toothpaste, and that goes for the, you know, you could buy the small shaving cream and whatever other kind of liquids. You can only have 3 ounces in one package, and then you put them all in a Ziploc bag, and then
Yep.
it all depends on what security you go through. Sometimes they check it, sometimes they don't.
Right, gotcha. I just want to make sure how much.
Is for,
But I
for-
could,
for-
I'm gonna blend it all in my deodorant anyway.
if
my
you
cologne.
if you are bringing a check-in bag, you can bring 8 ounces. It doesn't matter because you're checking it in. You can't bring more than 3 ounces in any individual container onto a plane.
Carry on, gotcha. So I want to make sure my cologne, or I'm not gonna bring cologne, but I mean just the basic stuff. It's so
I
I
wish
got
you would. I wish you would. I've smelt you before, and it's pleasurable.
Hey,
Just grab some of Colin's essential oil.
don't tell them we slept together
Definitely,
for 2 years. I heard you.
Another thing, you might want to bring an extra bar of soap or two. Our host should provide soap. Most of them will. If not, it's good to have a bar of your own. If you haven't,
Are there ounces though, like with that though, the same way, like with the soap?
bars of soap, I don't
size?
think that applies to a solid.
If it's solid soap, it doesn't matter. If it's
So
liquid soap,
iris keeps the
3
mice and the rats away, is what we know. So that's good.
And if you've
Just
got
saying.
an unused bar of soap, you can always leave it behind. Someone will be happy to take it because that's another thing.
I'll
That
probably get it at the hotel. That's a good question. I just want to know how many ounces of stuff for cleaning supplies we need, and whatever. Hot water works for me. I'm good.
there you go.
can,
And
can I
I'm sorry,
ask?
Lori, did you have a question there?
Yeah.
Earlier? Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
so the tick thing, will we be I just want to know, like, how often I'll be wearing the same long pants. Will we need, when we go horseback riding, when we do the sunrise hike? every time we're out hiking, there's risk of ticks?
Pretty much just in Vinales. I've never gotten them on the horseback tour in Trinidad or anywhere else, only when hiking in Vinales. But yeah, you will want long pants for the horseback tour. But as far as the ticks, yeah, again, I've only encountered them in Vinales. We'll be
Okay.
there 3 nights, 2 days. We'll do the sunrise hike tour the second day. First day, we'll do the cave tour. We'll also do a walking farm tour to the tobacco farms in there. Yeah, that's where you're going to get them. And again, all the research I've found is they don't carry any diseases. They're not deer ticks. You're not going to get Lyme disease.
They're gross.
They're just ticks, which are, yeah. Ticks.
As long as they're not Texas size. They're little. We got them here this year pretty bad here in Michigan, so they're not bad.
All right. Yeah, they're not deer ticks and they don't carry Lyme disease. So
No, yeah.
What are the symptoms if you get dengue fever?
Fever?
assume there's a fever with that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm
just trying to decide, do I need to bring anything to combat that?
Well, you would probably have to get medical attention down there. A friend of mine got it last year. My good friend, she caught it in Havana.
Oh,
It's
no.
pretty rough. And then Mike, your friend Nick, who was there before,
Yeah.
he got it.
And my friend Nick caught it in Havana as well. So, when you go into these rooms, in these Casa Particulares, they are clean and everything, but you just got to look around and go, there's probably a mosquito just living in here waiting for the next guest. So that's usually where it comes from.
Okay.
You ever do people ever wear head nets?
They're not
I was
that.
gonna
Okay.
hazmat suit.
They're not like Alaska.
It's not like being at Wonder Lake in Denali.
Something
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Although Lori, I do have a bug net top with a hood and everything, and I'll probably bring that. It's that same material, but it's a shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that way it's breathable too. It's nice because it's
Right.
Pantyhose were great.
Yo.
So I'm hoping to bring, it's just a small, like carry-on, and it's soft, but it has wheels, so it's not like a duffel bag. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's
It's
fine.
like-
That's fine.
Okay. All
Just
right.
in the past, we've run into these giant hard-sided suitcases, and you can only fit so much in the van. And it's in addition to the space, it's the weight.
Right.
I'm had a couple people bring so much luggage that our vans barely made it up to El Nicho Parque, up the mountains, because we were in first gear, barely climbing up the mountain. So
Wow.
space and its weight. So just please be considerate of that and do your best to pack light.
And
I have a
another
question. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of packing, so if we needed any kind of medical supplies, we will be able to get those if
Bring them with. If there's anything that you
Okay.
anticipate you might need, it's best to bring your own. Because again, acquiring things there can be difficult. They do have pretty good health care. But the facilities aren't as nice as what we're used to, but they do have a lot of doctors and medical professionals. So,
Okay.
but yeah, if you anticipate you might need something, just bring it, just pack it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if somebody gets a cut but if it's bad enough, there's medical care.
There is, and it's, yeah,
Okay.
they do have pretty good medical care there. So
Okay.
Well,
that's serious where more than a Band-Aid, it's going to require more than a Band-Aid then.
Yeah.
Right.
Colin and
Okay.
I will have some antiseptic and some Band-Aids and some tape, we'll have a small first aid kit. Anything serious, obviously, we'll be going to a professional into the hospital and to make sure you're fine.
Okay. All right.
Christina, you had a question.
I did. I was wondering,
Oh, you just cut out. No te escucho. Can't hear you. I guess we'll come back to Christina.
sorry, I
There
was
we
trying to
go.
type something.
I can keep it light if I can wash my clothes. Are we gonna have that option?
Odds are that, yeah, in one of the casas we're staying, someone would offer laundry services. There's a good chance of that. I know one of
Awesome.
the casas in, wait, are you in, you're in the first tour, Christina?
I think I am.
February
Yes.
11th? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, never mind. The other casa we're staying at in Vinales mentioned that, but we were staying at Ray's place. Yes, one of these places will be able to do laundry for you. And I bring a lot of really lightweight stuff that I can easily wash in the sink and dry overnight. Just hang
I
it
was
up.
gonna say that, but I
There's
do
that
too.
kind of material that's easy to wash, easy to dry.
I assume it's humid there, right?
It is generally pretty humid. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
So
just.
Sherry's gonna worry about her
How
hair
big a
now.
hat do I need?
Yeah, definitely bring a hat, sunscreen, things like that for protection. Yes.
Any other questions?
This has been good. I appreciate you guys getting this together.
I appreciate everyone who was able to make it, and it still says it's recording, so we should have a recorded version. I'll put it on our YouTube channel if you need to go back and review anything, but hopefully you took some notes or something. And any other questions, reach out to us via email or WhatsApp. Once we leave for Cuba, best way to reach us is WhatsApp. Something comes up with your flight, anything, just reach us on WhatsApp. You can message the group, or you should be able to message us individually as well. Either or both of us, you can do that. So
We're gonna have a hell of a good time, I think.
I think it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
that's good. I look forward to going back as well. Look forward to spending a couple nights in Playa Larga. That'll be different. And 3 nights, 2 full days in Vinales is going to be nice because it's a really beautiful area, beautiful limestone mountains, and really scenic. And it's just a cool little town.
Get the dust off my camera and I'm ready to go.
There you go. Yeah. Mike and I are photographers. That's how we got into this whole business. And we're there to help anyone. If you'd like, assistance with your camera.
You know I'll need help. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while since you took that class with me. I told
I
you
got an
what
idea.
hair was.
I did a big trip. I did a big trip this last year about this time, and there was a group. We were able to download. Everybody would download pictures they wanted to on a main area, and then we could share with everybody in the group. I always thought that was a good idea.
We do that. We use WhatsApp for that as well. It's a great way to share photos and videos with the group is on WhatsApp.
That way I don't have to take pictures.
Same.
I'm sorry.
It's the same situation on WhatsApp. When you put your photos up there, you share that with all of.
Mike froze up. I think that's the gist of it. You put it in WhatsApp and you share it with the group, and that's a great way to, to share photos, the videos, the memories, things like that. We still have people communicating in our Namibia group from last fall almost daily. So it's should make a new group of friends, and we'll continue to communicate usually after as well.
Donna, get your salsa lessons in, okay?
I'm practicing my Uno every single day. Duolingo.
That's good. It's helpful. To me, Cuban Spanish is very difficult to understand. I can understand Spaniards or Mexican Spanish better than Cuban Spanish, but I try.
And then everyone put photos up and everybody sees.
Yeah.
Everybody just what? I missed that.
Mike's caught up to real time now.
I am back. My internet. Oh, guess what? My internet went down.
You're back.
Shocking.
All right. I think we've covered everything. Watch for the email with the podcasts and videos. And again, I encourage you can download them to your phone, the podcast anyway, and listen to them on the flights. Give you something to do and arrive with some knowledge of Cuba and, their history, the political history between our two countries. And I think you'll leave with a new appreciation for Cuba and realize how closely our countries are actually connected, despite the embargo. That we have and historically have a lot of close ties. And from what I understand, they almost became a state at one point after Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders helped liberate them from Spain. But that didn't happen. And unfortunately, we have the situation we're in today with our governments. But, You know, they make it clear they have nothing against the American people. They'd love to have us visit. They're enamored with Americans, but obviously US government has kind of put the screws to them and continues to. And I wish that would change. I wish we didn't have to declare a reason we could just go to Cuba. But it is what it is right now. And I've never had any issues coming back, and nor have any of our guests. So yeah, there you have it. And if you want to bring back cigars and rum, well, it's at your own risk, but if you're in a check bag, you'll probably be okay. Probably helps to have global entry as well. Then you're that much higher on the security level.
Yeah, I gotta remember to do that. Thanks.
I don't want to make the national news, or maybe I do.
Maybe you do.
Or just become a Canadian, all good.
And then
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
it was only that easy. It was only that easy.
Canada. I'm from Canada.
I've met a lot of Canadian tourists there. A lot of Canadian
Yep.
tourists, yeah. But
Keep your
remember,
pledge,
we're not
man.
tourists. We're not going there for tourism purposes as far as US Customs is aware. No, we're there direct support for the Cuban people. You know, another thing I've encouraged people to do before is have a little notebook and keep a simple daily journal, names of people you met, places we went, so it appears to be more of a cultural experience. But that's how we really want to frame this if you do get asked. Yeah, we're there supporting the Cuban people. And we are hiring private citizens, and we certainly are supporting them financially. So never had an issue.
And that's not a lie. That's what we're doing. We're actually going there. Yes, we're going there to experience it, and it's cultural for us, but we are supporting the Cuban people. We're directly supporting them.
They just can't see us.
So it's not a vacation to sit on the beach. We'll go to a few beaches, but that's not our purpose in going. And it really is a cultural exchange. We'll see a lot of neat places. Havana, of course, very historic. Trinidad goes way back to the slave trade, and a lot of interesting history there. Also, they exported gold out of that area, and the ships, when they came over from Europe, they'd have to, for the ballast, they would weight the ship down with rocks, with stones, cobblestones, unload the cobblestones, and then put the gold in the ship back to Europe. So the streets in Trinidad are all made with cobblestones from Europe.
Wow.
And again, that city was designed to confuse intruders, and I've gotten lost there. So recommend not venturing out on your own. If you do, have a business card with the address and take a picture of the door where you're staying. But for the most part, we're going to be in a group.
Mike, I'm bringing my orange earmuffs. Don't lose me.
Neon. Okay.
That's
All
my
right.
mom. That's my mom's words. Don't lose him. Don't lose him.
Right. Well, any other questions come up, just email us or message on WhatsApp. And again, we'll send out the list of podcasts and videos. And yeah, educate yourself on Cuba. You arrive with that knowledge. It's very helpful.
I just
Yeah.
called you on
Muchas
the phone.
gracias.
All right.
Muchas gracias. Buenas
Have a
noches.
good day.
Nos
Hasta
vemos.
mañana. Hasta
Hasta,
luego.
baby.
Thank you.
Buenas
Good night,
noches.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas
everyone.
noches.
See you soon.
Nos vemos pronto.
Okay, figure out about